He knew nothing of Vedanta, nothing of theories. He was contented to live that great life and to leave it to others to explain. So said the Swami Vivekananda once, referring to his master, Ramakrishna Paramahansa, and as an expression of the idea that there may, in a great life, be elements which he who lives it may not think himself understand, may not himself understand, and as an expression of the idea that there may be in a great life, as an expression of the idea that there may in a great life be elements which he who lives it may not himself understand. The words have often come back to me in reference to his own career. In the West, the Swami had revealed himself to us as a religious teacher only. Even now, it needs but a moment's thought, and again one sees him in the old lecture room, on the seat slightly raised above his class, and so enthroned, in Buddha-like calm. Once more in a modern world is heard through his lips the voice of the far past. But renunciation, the thirst after freedom, the breaking of bondage, the fire of purity, the joy of the witness, the mergence of the personal in the impersonal, these and these alone had been the themes of that discourse. It is true that in a flash or two one had seen a great patriot. Yet the secret signal is sufficient where destiny calls, and moments that to one form the turning point of a life may pass before the eyes of 100 spectators, unperceived. It was as the apostle of Hinduism, not as a worker for India, that we saw the Swami in the West. Oh, how calm, he explained, would be the work of one who really understood the divinity of man. For such there is nothing to do save to open men's eyes. All the rest does itself. And out of some such fathomless peace had come all that we had seen and heard of him. From the moment of my landing in India, however, I found something quite unexpected underlying all this. It was not Ramakrishna Paramahansa, nor even the ideas which were connected with him, that formed so strange a revelation here. It was the personality of my master himself. In all the fruitless torture and struggle of a lion caught in a net. For, from the day that he met me at the ship's side till that last serene moment, when at the hour of cow dust he passed out of the village of this world, leaving the body behind like a folded garment, I was always conscious of this element inwoven with the other in his life. But wherein lay the struggle? Whence came the frequent sense of being baffled and thwarted? Was it a growing consciousness of bodily weakness, conflicting with the growing clearness of a great purpose? Amongst the echoes that had reached his English friends of his triumphal reception in India, this had been the note carried by a man friend to my own ear. Banished to the Himalayas with shattered health, at the very moment when his power had reached its height, he had written a letter to his friend which was a cry of despair. And some of us became eager to take any step that might make it possible to induce him to return to the West and leave his Indian undertakings on other shoulders. In making such arrangements, how little must we have realized of the nature of those undertakings, or of the difficulty and complexity of the education that they demanded. To what was the struggle actually due? Was it the terrible effort of translating what he called the superconscious into the common life? Undoubtedly, he had been born to a task which was in this respect of heroic difficulty. Nothing in this world is so terrible as to abandon the safe paths of accepted ideals in order to work out some new realization by methods apparently in conflict with the old. Once, in his boyhood, Sri Ramakrishna had asked Noren, as he was then called, what was his highest ambition in life, and he had promptly answered to remain always in samadhi. His master, it is said, received this with a smile. I thought you had been born for something greater, my boy, was all his reply. We may take it, I think, that the moment marked an epoch in the disciple's career. Certainly, in years to come, in these last 5.5 years particularly, which were his crowning gift to his own people, he stood for work without attachment or work for impersonal ends as one of the highest expressions of the religious life. And for the first time in the history of India, an order of monks found themselves banded together, with their faces set primarily towards the evolution of new forms of civic duty. In Europe, where the attainment of the direct religious sense is so much rarer and so much less understood than in the East, such labor ranks as devotional in the common acceptance. But in India, the head and front of the demand made on a monastic order is that it produce saints. And the value of the monk who, instead of devoting himself to maintaining the great tradition of the superconscious life, turns back to help society upwards, has not in the past been clearly understood.